episode, I wanted to talk a little bit about comparison and how comparing yourself to others can really be kind of a bit of a quicksand in terms of like a mental spiral that you can go down into. So you have to remember that you were created 100% unique. There's nobody exactly like you on planet Earth, and by that mechanism, there never will be another individual exactly like you. So it's really important, not to compare yourself really ever to other individuals, because when we do this, we're really not factoring in all of the truth and the complexity that really goes into building each and every life story. Because again, some individuals are given a lot of obstacles, a lot of things that are very difficult early in childhood, yet that builds a lot of character. Whereas, some individuals have a really kind of safe, kind of cocoon-like existence when they're growing up. But again, that doesn't build a ton of character. It doesn't make them super resilient always to the world at large. And I know dealing with students, I have this dialogue with them all the time about, them maybe not feeling like they have achieved what they want to achieve yet in their life, or, they're looking at other individuals and they're saying, why am I not there yet? Like, how come I haven't, hit these benchmarks? And what this can do, when you are essentially comparing yourself to other people, it can put you kind of into a low mood, because again, you're not focusing and channeling your energy into what you're doing. You're channeling your energy into kind of dissecting what others are doing. And when we look at a really purposeful, full, authentic existence, it's not really just a unilateral thing. This is, again, a very complex individual journey for each and every person. But you have to remember that the journey here to Earth isn't just about accumulating wealth or getting to the point where, you have a really successful business, or, you've had a family. It's an ever evolving process. And you don't want to get into this habit of, especially with social media nowadays, comparing your life to the lives of others. Because again, it's not an accurate comparison for the first, in the first place, because what people are posting is, like, most of the time very glossed over, and also really not a true representation of what it actually means to either get to that point, or all of the complexities that come with being in that certain lifestyle. So how can I kind of extrapolate on this? Maybe, again, you are a woman that's in the workforce, and you're looking at, mothers and families that have, a husband that supports everything, and, they get to go on these fabulous trips, and you see them having, champagne with their girlfriends, or, you look at it in your perception of watching somebody else's life is that the grass is greener on the other side, when maybe that individual that is posting things or is, sort of portraying their life might actually feel very without purpose, because again, they, are just raising their families and they don't have a lot of specifically individually directed goals. So again, this is just an example, and I mean, I'm really pulling it out of the ether. It's not any particular example from somebody I know, but again, you don't want to look comparatively at another individual or group of individuals and, assume that you would want their life, or that their path is somehow better than the journey that you've been given, because each individual's journey was, again, chosen by yourself. I mean, you choose everything along the path that you're creating that you wish to experience. If you didn't want to experience having a family, then you wouldn't have had a family, right? And I guess you could go and say, sometimes these things happen by accident, right? But if you were really diligently along your life path and you didn't want to create a family, you would definitely make those directed steps to make sure that that didn't happen. I know in my younger years, I knew that I wanted to be a career woman. I wanted to work. I loved working. And so I made very important choices to make sure that I wasn't having children young, because again, I knew that that would take me away from the path that I wanted to go down. So again, back to this whole idea of comparing ourselves to others, or, really getting overly fixated on social media. This is something that can affect our mental health, because again, when we're looking at the lives and lifestyles of others, it can have an effect of making us feel less than ourselves, or that, we're not living our best life. Now, if this is a catalyst for you to become inspired and want to, reach out and do some of these things, or emulate some of the ways that, people that you are watching are creating things in the world, then that's a great thing. But if you're utilizing a comparative method to kind of go back and circle back to yourself and feel down about where you are, then that has absolutely no value in terms of A, your mental health, and B, getting yourself into a state where you really want to become a creator, or you really want to manifest something wonderful in your environment. And so again, you can always look at even celebrities, so people that are, in the public eye or have these fabulously rich lifestyles, and think that even that might be something that, we would really like for ourselves, or that, again, the grass is somehow greener on the other side. But what we forget is that with any type of lifestyle or life journey, there's always going to be obstacles with that. So if somebody has a tremendous amount of fame or wealth, or things came very easy to them, there are going to be lessons that are layered with that kind of life path. So things like they may not have a lot of value for the people in their life, or the circumstances or blessings in their life, because again, everything always came easy, so it didn't hold much value. Whereas somebody that came from kind of humble beginnings, when they achieve certain milestones, it's extremely pleasurable for them. It's something that, again, a lot of joy comes with it, because they knew all of the ditches that they had to dig to get there, or all of the hard work involved. So we can't just necessarily say that because somebody's lifestyle looks glamorous that, there aren't struggles in that too. And, even with a tremendous amount of wealth, what a lot of people don't understand is that it creates a certain dichotomy. So when you have, or when you're holding a lot of resources, it can precipitate a lot of individuals to kind of come around you that may not be there for the right reasons. And we see this all the time, and we've seen it, historically as well, with different celebrities, like people like Michael Jackson, or, Elvis Presley's daughter, people that are just kind of set into a path of extreme wealth, but then it does bring a certain amount of kind of shady characters out of the woodwork, which will then gravitate to these individuals and maybe not have the best intentions, and they may be looking to kind of extort them, or, are really looking for their own personal gain. So it can be difficult for that individual that seems to have it all to form really trusting connections, because they never really know if their friends are there for, step up the ladder, or to somehow financially benefit from them, or, just kind of be in their proximity because they're famous, right? So that can be difficult on one's mental stability as well, right? So again, that's that principle of never really assuming that you know somebody's path, or you can't really read a book by its cover, because we don't know the whole story. And that's why, in terms of your life against somebody else's life is never really a good thing, because you cannot compare it. You can't really look into somebody else's life and really know what they've been through or what they're struggling with or what they're carrying, okay? No matter how beautiful or glamorous their lifestyle might look to you. And, again, you're only going to know your own life's trajectory and your own life's path. But I think the most important thing that any of us can do when we're creating that, life that we've always dreamed of, is benchmark ourselves against ourselves. So, are we better than we were the week before? Are we better than we were a year before? Have we come a long way in terms of clearing out our own distortions? And how can we look specifically through the lens of our own mental clarity and our own consciousness? And where are we comparing to where we might have been in the past? And that's going to be really the only, concrete and important comparison that you should ever be making, at least one that is going to help with your mental stability and your clarity of thinking, okay? Because any other comparison, I find, would just tend to drag you down. And I mean, there's the other side of the coin too, where people will compare themselves to maybe others that they feel are not doing as good as they are. But again, that's not a very high vibrational activity either, because when we're doing that, we're elevating ourselves above another and looking down on them to somehow appease the ego. So it's the ego's way of saying, oh yes, I'm great. Look at, all of these other individuals. They're not where I am, and therefore I'm so wonderful, okay? But that is a very negative, low vibrational way of understanding, the world around you and others. Your intrinsic consciousness or your wish for others around you should always be that they are in a process of elevation and that they are yielding the outcome of many, many blessings as well. You never want to, look at them and be happy that other individuals are not doing so well, because somehow it elevates you. So again, this is just that slippery slope of how the egoic mind, in terms of utilizing the mechanism of comparing, can be something that can kind of put you into a tailspin mentally, and it's just not a good utilization of our thought forms and what we want to create through the lens of our consciousness. So hopefully this little tidbit of wisdom was something that you found valuable. I know myself, I really pumped the brakes on any type of comparison. Many years ago, I don't look at anybody else's social media. I don't look at any celebrities. It's not that I don't wish them well or care. It's just that it really doesn't add anything to what I'm creating. And if anything, it kind of is a waste of time. Unless I'm going to a concert or something. If I'm going and enjoying a beautiful concert, or, hearing somebody speak and I'm really inspired by what they're saying, or reading a book that somebody's written, that's different, okay? Because then they are teaching me something and I'm absorbing that information in a great amount of gratitude for learning and synthesizing anything that the other person has done. But when it's me comparing myself to other people, I've always found that that's just a really low vibrational activity. And if anything, it just pulls me down into this, thinking like, okay, well, I haven't achieved what, Madonna has, or I haven't achieved what Kim Kardashian has, something like that. But again, I didn't have the same start as those individuals. So I had to go through my own path. And again, I'm not upset that I'm not, where those other women are by any means, but I'm just saying, as an example, if you start comparing, it can maybe put you into a mindset where you feel less than, and that isn't your life. So specifically in terms of social media and the way that social media is so pervasive in our modern day living, it kind of forces us, if we are digesting a lot of social media, to do this comparative analysis. If we're watching the stories of other people, if we are following their lives to a great degree, again, it can pull us away from the purpose that we have here and the things that bring us joy, our hobbies, our gifts, our talents, and we're just wasting time kind of scrolling on other people's lives instead of getting down to business and creating a beautiful life ourselves. So again, my suggestion is to stop all comparison as much as possible and to get doing the things that you love to do and really enriching yourself as best you can in terms of hobbies, things that you learn, digesting information, creating things, creating companies, creating, new ways of doing things. These are the things that are always going to fill your soul. Spending time with people you love, going out, helping other individuals. And again, doing it in the spirit of unconditional love is always going to calibrate your aura or your beingness to sort of that highest plane possible. So yeah, that's kind of wrapping up this video, and hopefully, again, that was a little bit of wisdom that you could integrate into your everyday life.